This video will go over the second half of the Chapter 15 notes, which is all about cladograms and phylogenetic trees. Cladograms and phylogenetic trees are two ways to show the relatedness of species. Cladograms look like a branching diagram where your eyes will read the direction that they normally go, which is left to right. When you read that direction, you can think of time going in that same fashion, such that the left of the diagram represents the oldest part of the diagram, and the right part of the diagram represents the most recent in time. On the diagram, I can identify that all of the species are located up on the top, and then there are traits indicated on the slanted part of the diagram. Those traits do not fall where the lines meet, but rather the traits fall between where two lines meet, meaning that this trait here is between these two lines. Everywhere on the diagram where there are two lines that intersect, it represents a common ancestor. A common ancestor, to remind you from chapter 13, is an organism that lived long ago and is no longer still alive today. So where two lines meet, such as right here, there is an ancestor who lived long ago that then diverged into the mouse and the chimp. So the mouse continued to evolve over time into what is a modern day mouse, and the chimp continued to evolve into what we think of as a modern day chimp. But the ancestor here at the node where two lines meet is not still alive today. We're going to take a look at some questions, and this will be like a tutorial of how to answer them. Question number 1, what traits does a salamander have? To answer questions like those, I'll identify the organism, follow the line down. The ancestor of the salamander lived here at the green dot. The ancestor had all of the traits that evolved before it. So every organism has the traits that came before it. Answer for 1 should be lungs and jaws. Order of those two doesn't matter. The jaws evolved first and then the lungs. Claws and nails evolved after the ancestor of the salamander, so I do not include that. Same with fur and mammary glands. Continuing on, question 2. Put a letter on the tree that shows the ancestor for the mouse and the lizard. Mouse evolved here, lizard evolved here. Their ancestor is where those two lines intersect. Therefore, I'm going to identify that as being here. Obviously, these two green lines that I drew are parallel, so they don't intersect. So I continue to follow the mouse back in time until I see where it reaches the lizard line. It says to put a letter, so I'll put a letter A there. Question 3, what traits did the ancestor of the perch and salamander have? I will follow my perch line down, my salamander line down, and identify where they intersect. Those lines are parallel, so I will trace the salamander back in time to the ancestor of both. The ancestor of both would be at the red dot. That ancestor has all of the traits that came before it. The only trait before this ancestor is jaws. Question 4, which organisms have claws or nails? I can find the trait. Claws or nails evolved here. The organism that came before claws or nails do not have claws or nails. So I am looking for everybody who came after claws and nails. Should be my lizard, my pigeon, my mouse and chimp. everybody who came after it. Please don't use your own guesses of the traits of the animals, because normally they'll give you like scientific names or organisms you haven't heard of. So for these more simple ones, try not to let like your own guesses and knowledge about the animal come into play. We're straight up reading the diagram. Question number 5, which organism is the outgroup? The outgroup is a new word. It is the organism on the picture that has the least amount of traits. So that's just like a vocab word. Outgroup is the organism that has the least amount of traits. It is the one that goes farthest back in time. Answer for 5, hagfish. A few more practice questions. Question number 1, new diagram. Who is most closely related to birds? I'll identify where birds are and follow all of the lines to see who is most connected to the bird. Following the bird line down, there is an ancestor here with the dinosaur. So answer for 1 should be dinosaur. I would not simply glance and say, well, bird is halfway between crocodile and dinosaur. I am following the pattern of the lines. The bird and the crocodile evolved here, which based on my reference of time was longer ago than the bird and dinosaur. So the more recent ancestor would be with the dinosaur. Question number 2, put a letter A where it shows the ancestor of the crocodile and turtle. Turtle is here, crocodile is here. The ancestor is where those lines meet. I'll follow the crocodile line a little bit backwards, should be about here, A. Question 3, which organisms have a live birth? Live birth evolved here. Everybody after the trait has that trait. Answer for 3, marsupial and placental mammals. Question number 4, which traits did the ancestor of the crocodile and turtle have? Crocodile and turtle, follow it down. That ancestor is here. The organism has all of the traits that came before it. Only one, which is the amniotic egg. So in summary, when reading these pictures, make sure you identify time is always going left to right, and then also follow the pattern of the lines. To conclude, there's one last diagram which looks more like this. We call this a phylogenetic tree, but it's really quite similar to the cladogram. Again, time is going left to right. This is the oldest. This is the most recent. This picture gives me some years where I can see that. Question number 1, which species is most closely related to H. lar? I am looking here. I will follow the line backwards. It has an ancestor where 2 lines intersect. That is the ancestor with this S. syndactys. That guy. Question number 2, how long ago did the ancestor for P. badius and S. entellus live? So I'm looking at that guy and that guy. How long ago did the ancestor live? I'll follow the lines backwards to where they meet. Should be right here. How long ago was that? I will attempt to draw a straight line coming down, which I did not do a good job of. Should be about 15 million years. Number 3, label the ancestor of G. gorilla and H. lar. G. gorilla and H. lar. I will follow my lines back until they meet. Ancestor is right here. And lastly, number 4, how long ago did E. patus, this guy, evolve from M. fuscata? This guy. I'm going to follow the lines back until they meet. Right here. How long ago was that? I'm going to say about 20 million years ago.